for me, it is the Bloodline because it's still more layers to the story. We had the return of Roman that happened at SummerSlam. It was good to see him. The ovation was amazing in Cleveland. We have to hear from Roman and Paul Heyman and find out where Jimmy Uso stands. And Jey Uso, will he continue to be a single, or will he find himself back into the story? And then Hikuleo is coming. And then Zilla Fatu is at SummerSlam. So to me, there's just more and more and more layers, Gabe and Brian, of this story. There's no shot at the Judgment Day. They've already drawn their line in the sand. What we're going to get here is probably some really solid mixed tags of Rhea and Priest against Dom and Liv. But I really think that there's more to come with the Bloodline, and can't wait to see it.
The only thing for me, though, that leans Judgment Day is with Bloodline, I feel like we know where it's going. We're going to get Roman Rock. That will be in Vegas at WrestleMania 41. We'll get the Usos. It looks like we'll probably get Sammy. I don't know where we're going with Judgment Day right now. Like, I've seen this go around social. Dom on Saturday turned from heel to more heel. Like, I've never seen someone turn heel as a mega heel already. And they keep hitting all the right buttons with that. And Rhea being the top of her game, I think there's just more curiosity and more unexpectedness when it comes to Judgment Day.
Now, I did see WWE had released a video of Dom telling some kid before the show on Saturday, "No, I'm Team Mommy all the way." And CM Punk's walking by, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I've run it by Punk. I'm Team Mommy." And Punk's like, "Yeah," because he knows if he turns his back on Mommy, he's so I guess, he again turned heel, lying to everybody still. But again, the Bloodline is more exciting. Do we think we know what the end game is? Yes, but we knew what the end game was for a lot of things, Bloodline. And it was the fun part was the ride along the way. Are Jimmy and Jay going to be folded back in? Is Sami Zayn going to find his way back into the Bloodline saga? Where does this leave Cody on SmackDown? So I think there are a lot more questions. The Bloodline is all, I mean, we know the players. They're not going to be adding, like, Edge isn't coming back to WWE to, become, rebrand himself as part of the Judgment Day. Like, that's not happening. So that's kind of all contained within all of, the players that are already involved with Liv and Dom and Carlito still, I guess, and JD and Finn Balor all being part of that Judgment Day, taking on Priest and Rhea Ripley. So we already know all the players. The Bloodline, there's still a lot more questions of who else is going to be sucked into this Bloodline vortex.
Guys, it was so cool, Brian, the way that the cinema evolves in WWE, right? Because everything's about a mystery with them. You get nothing but the face of Finn Balor right on your TV, and all of a sudden the camera opens, and then you see the new Judgment Day right there on your TV. It's just such great television, right? Great mystery. Here's something we've never talked about before. I'm pretty sure we've never talked about this before. And after our show, the SummerSlam special that we did, we had some people on social media saying to us, well, SummerSlam was predictable. It was predictable. Can I just say this? When you're a wrestling fan and everything you predict comes true, that means that you're right on target with the stories, right? Because the old Swerve Bro stuff happened in WCW with Russo, and it was the shits, right? But like anything else, as you go story by story, step by step, if you can say, hey, I think this is going to happen, I think it happens, now because you're on the right path with the company, now you'll see what else is next. And along the way, there will be some twists and turns, but I didn't see it as predictable. I just saw it as we're all three of us are pretty right on target, and now we can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, and I think that's fair, but I think what we expect target and schedule-wise is there are going to be weeks where there is no Bloodline. Like Roman's advertised for SmackDown tomorrow, and I believe next week in Orlando as well. Mm-hmm. But what happens between now and Survivor Series, if that's ultimately where we're going to get the big war games or whatever? Like, that's the part that worries me a little when it comes to the Bloodline.
Look, to go back to Jay Hood's point, predictability is not a bad thing. Right? Like, every once in a while you want those surprises. Absolutely. Like, I think of the surprise, again, being a Dean Ambrose, John Moxley fan, like the surprise of when he cashed in the night that he won and the pop that he got, and all three members of the Shield held it at one time. Or, you get the turn of somebody, like when Seth turned on, the rest of the Shield, and those are just the quick examples I think of. But when I bought a ticket to go see the last Avengers movie in the theater, guess what I knew was going to happen? I knew the Avengers were going to win in the end, right? Like, I knew that was going to happen. like a 5-year-old movie at this point,
No.
bud. Sorry.